A federal judge will hear arguments today in a case between the Trump administration and the state of California. At the center of it, whether the president can use the National Guard or Marines for law enforcement on U.S. soil. That's why we're bringing in Scripps News Group's Joe St. George live in Washington with the very latest. Good morning, Joe. Tell us more and what the legal battle is shaping up to be on both sides.
Yeah, we are nearing the 1 week mark, Taylor, in which we have covered the scene in Los Angeles. And last night, state officials reported relative calm. Certainly, we're nowhere near where we were on Sunday with several burning cars on the streets of Los Angeles. This has been a story, though, playing out on the streets of L.A., as well as other American streets that have seen protests, as well as on social media, and the remarkable war of words between the governor of California and the president of the United States. Well, today, a bit of change of scenery for where this battle is playing out. It's going to play out in a San Francisco federal courthouse. The state of California suing the Trump administration, suing the president's decision to send in the National Guard and the Marines. This is a big case about presidential power. I think it's going to have ripple effects throughout the rest of President Trump's term. Eventually, this case could provide clarity over the use that presidents have of the National Guard, of the Marines. The state of California has alleged in their court paperwork, and I'm quoting now, quote, "The Constitution grants the states, not the federal executives, the authority to conduct ordinary law enforcement activities and determine how their own state laws should be enforced," adding, "The authority to use the military domestically for civil law enforcement is reserved for dire, narrow circumstances, none of which is present here." Obviously, the White House disagrees. They have responded in court saying that the president, under the Constitution and under federal law, has the ability to quell lawless violence. And that's what they have described the situation in Los Angeles as being. And they added in their response, quote, "Neither the National Guard nor the Marines are engaged in law enforcement. Rather, they are protecting law enforcement." One thing that's unclear, Taylor, is how long the judge in this case will take to rule. Judge Charles Breyer, by the way, he's the brother of the former Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer, a appointee to the court from President Bill Clinton in the late 1990s. But again, the impacts will be widespread here, especially as we inch towards Saturday, which is a day in which we're expecting nationwide protests to take place. Saturday will be a remarkable day of really split screens. We're expecting a big military parade on President Trump's birthday to celebrate the Army's 250th birthday. We're also expecting protests in dozens of cities reacting to that. So the protest story will only continue to.
Joe, thanks. And while I've got you, just a quick question. Have you ever seen anything like this happen in the past? Anything that's comparable that you can possibly think of?
Well, this isn't the first time that the president of the United States is sending in the National Guard against the wishes of the state. But you got to go back all the way to 1965. Lyndon Johnson sent in the National Guard to Alabama. In that case, it was in the midst of the civil rights movement, voting rights movement. You were dealing with segregationist governors in the South. So it is a quite remarkable event that you have this feud. It's typical during situations like Los Angeles in which, well, you have the voice of the mayor and the governor and the president all being the same. Everybody's on the same message. In this case, Taylor, not only is it two different voices, it's two separate choirs. And we should note, there's also a political rivalry between the governor of California and the president of the United States, and that has no doubt played into this as well.
Well, Joe, thank you for explaining. We'll be keeping in touch for the latest updates and speak again soon.